Hello, it's me, that Divination witch. I hope you're all doing very well. Now I am back with another witchy video as per usual, and today I'm going to be talking about Hecate, as you've guessed by the title. Now if you're new to my channel, I work very closely with Hecate. I call her my spiritual mother. She is, the main goddess in my life, and I love her very much. And I started this channel as a way of not just helping myself, but helping you guys, and also a devotional act to her. I like to help people who are maybe interested in her, learn more about her, and I try and do that as down to earth as possible, So today I'm going to be talking about ways to call upon Hecate, and I'm going to give you 5 ways of doing that. And honestly, it is not something that is long and convoluted. So without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you who don't know who I am, hello, my name's Sarah and I go by that Divination witch online. I started off on TikTok by posting readings, and I've branched out here onto YouTube, sharing my journey, information I've learned, and like I said, I try and do it as down to earth as possible. If you like that kind of thing, please hit subscribe. And I've also got a link tree below if you're interested in getting a reading off me. I've got an Etsy store and a Patreon service. Both services have readings, and on Patreon I'm trying to build it up to offer hints and tips and advice on paganism and witchcraft and things of that nature. So if you're interested, I'd be so grateful if you could give it a look. I've wrote some notes here. But yes, honestly, when people are new to this type of spirituality, new to polytheism, paganism, new to working with a deity, a god, a goddess, Hecate, any deity, it can be overwhelming, especially when there's a lot of misleading information online, or not even just misleading, a lot of complex information online. There's a lot of people, not everyone, but there is a lot of spiritual circles that share things in a kind of ego-driven sort of way. They make things out to be more complicated than they are because they want to seem more badass kind of thing. It might be a clout thing, it might be an ego thing that they want to be, powerful and all this. Well, you know what? Anyone has the potential to contact a deity, to contact a spirit, to start on a spiritual journey. Literally anyone can do that. It doesn't mean that you're not special, and there's no need to gatekeep this information and there's no need to overcomplicate it either. 5 ways of calling on Hecate or Hecate. Let's go into it. Number 1 is her Orphic Hymn. This is something that's readily available. I'm sure you can look it up online. A lot of the Hellenic gods had hymns dedicated to them, and the Orphic hymns are just certain hymns that were, preserved, I suppose, and compiled. And yeah, Hecate has one herself, as do a lot of the other Hellenic gods. Now, Hecate isn't limited to just Hellenic teachings and Hellenic traditions, although she is quite prevalent in them. But the Orphic hymn to Hecate would be a nice way of connecting with her. I will try and link it down below if I remember, or if I can't link it, I'll make a short with it on or something like that. I do have it. Ages ago I made a TikTok reciting it for her. I know she likes it, she really does. And it's just a nice way of respecting her, respecting ancestors that potentially worked with her or worshipped her, and respecting her roots and where she comes from. And I know that reciting it does bring her attention to you. So yeah, that's a simple way of connecting with her and feeling her energy, is to recite the Orphic hymn. And number 2, now this kind of links back to Hellenic traditions as well, but it's not just Abrahamic religions that pray. In Hellenic times, it was quite common to pray to the gods, and Hecate likes prayers. She really does. It doesn't have to be anything special. You could look up some prayers to her online. I'm sure there are many that other people have created. Just because someone else has created a prayer doesn't make it any less special. You know, if you yourself are not able to create your own prayer. However, I do know Mother, Hecate, likes it when we think outside the box and get creative with things. So if you could make a prayer to her, she would love that, I'm very sure. So like the Orphic Hymn, just praying to her connects you to her. Number 3 are more traditional rituals. I'm getting these sort of things out the way, I suppose. Now, it can be overwhelming, like I've said at the start of this video, especially if you're new to all of this. You may think that you have to follow summoning rituals and do specific things on specific days and things like that. There are rituals out there that people have made up of their own accord, and that's good for them. And if you really want to look into that, well, that's on you. Do it, do what you want. My opinion is that Hecate does not need to be summoned. She's not a demon or anything like that. She is a goddess, and I've personally never done one like that, not a summoning ritual of Hecate, though I know that's a left-hand path thing. If you want, you do you, whatever. But I don't really see that they're necessary, and my personal opinion, it can be a little bit disrespectful actually. But I digress. When I say rituals for Hecate, I mean more traditional things. So again, a lot of this harks back to Hellenic times, but we know Hecate isn't limited to just that. It's just that a lot of the information about her comes from there. But participating in her deep nun, I don't know if I've said that right, but essentially on the new moon each month, that's Hecate's night. It used to be known, and it's still known really, as the dark moon, and traditionally offerings of food and wine and things were left at the crossroads to the dead and to Hecate. It was meant as a respect and a protection thing to protect people from the restless dead, because Hecate does preside over them and protects us from them, as well as helps them and helps move them on to where they need to be. So it's a respect thing more than anything. You don't have to do it down to the T, you know, and it doesn't always have to be every single new moon. I don't do it every single new moon, you know, there's a lot of times I forget. That's okay. Hecate as well does have a couple of days dedicated to her, one in November, one in August, and again, these days they are traditional, historical. If you forget, she isn't going to smite you, she isn't going to be angry, you know, and you don't have to do anything mega fancy. She isn't all about lavish things, you know. She, in my experience, is above all of that, you know. She's transcended the need for materialistic things, although they're nice, don't get me wrong. If you can't afford it, she isn't going to be angry at you. That leads me on to my next point, number 4, which is a bit more personal. And this is writing her a letter. So you don't have to know how to do rituals. You don't have to pray to her, because I know not everyone likes to do that. You don't have to always leave her offerings and things like this. From experience, and maybe this is UPG, but I know she likes the written word, as in a pen to paper, not so much typing, although she will tolerate that. It's the personal connection. And if you write your thoughts and feelings out addressed to her and leave that for her, it could be as an offering, or it could be, you know, just to talk with her, she acknowledges that. And I know she likes that, because you've took the time to speak with her person to person, per se. You know, you've put your energy into that. A lot of the time when I do this, it's when she wants me to address difficult emotions and feelings that maybe I've been experiencing, and I may leave the letter on her altar, or, you know, next to her candle. She helps me this way sometimes with shadow work, which is addressing those difficult emotions and feelings. So yeah, the written word she does enjoy, and if you've got the time to write her a letter, do it. And then number 5, which kind of rounds everything off here. Like I've touched upon in the video, Hecate isn't a goddess that needs fancy rituals. She doesn't need jewels and gold and expensive offerings. Those things are nice, but they're not required to be acknowledged by her and to have her in your life, to have her help you. She doesn't need those things. And honestly, the best way of you connecting with her is to open yourself up. And if you're a newbie, that might be like, what? What do you mean? I mean, be open-minded. You don't have to know how to do witchcraft. You don't even have to be a witch. You don't have to know how to do any divination or read, you know what I mean, like read tarot and things like this. Even some people can't meditate very well even, you know. All those things are good to commune with spirit, with Hecate or any deity or spirit. You know, if you know how to read tarot, if you know how to meditate or astral project, great, it's an extra bonus, you know, because you can get more personal with them. But if you have not unlocked your abilities, if you don't have your third eye open, if you don't know how to do these things, like, that is okay. We all have to start somewhere. I remember once upon a time, I didn't know how to read tarot. I didn't know how to open myself up and be intuitive and be able to channel these beings. I still don't know how I do it per se, except from having an open mind. There's a lot of the time I still doubt myself, and Hecate herself has told me, look, roll with it. There's times where I have put pen to paper, channeled her words and thought, am I making this up? Where's this coming from? Is it my imagination? But I've rolled with it. I've done it for people numerous times in readings, and then they come back and say, wow, how did you know this? I've even said to some customers, sorry if it's cryptic, but to them it's not cryptic, you know? So for me to be able to do all these things, honestly, the biggest thing I would tell you all to do is to just keep an open mind. Even if you think it can't be real, even if you doubt, just roll with it, see what happens, experience it, be in the moment. You know, if you're trying to meditate and you feel her around you, you might think, oh, that's my imagination playing tricks on me. Let it happen. You know, okay, even if it is that, just what are you thinking, what are you feeling, what are you experiencing? If you can hear her, if you can sense her, okay, roll with it, you know. And it will take you time, practice, patience. This is not something that can just happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, sort of thing. You know, this has took me years to get to the point I'm at. Now I wouldn't say I'm an expert, you know, and I still feel blockages sometimes. I still sometimes feel, you know, a bit, ugh. It's kind of like if anyone's a creative out there, if you ever have a writer's block, if you ever have a creative block where you're full of ideas and information and creativity just flows from you, and then suddenly you're blocked. That can happen with spirituality too, and that happens to me quite a bit. I mean, at time of filming, I've felt a bit blocked personally, but I'm working through it. You know, just go with the flow. That's the biggest thing I can say, is to go with the flow. Don't beat yourself up. You know, don't go in with the expectation. Just see where it takes you. So there you go. Like I say, you don't have to have fancy rituals and offerings and all this stuff. You really don't. Hecate herself, you know, she is a special goddess. Her name means works from afar. So sometimes she's around and you may not even know. You may not even realise, because that's the way she likes to operate, sort of thing. That's the way she is. She doesn't like all the fanfare, all the, you know, fawning over her, sorry, not pawning. But you know what I mean. Although it's lovely, she doesn't require it. So let me know if this has helped. If there's any other hints or tips you can give people, feel free to put it in the comments below. Any questions, I'm happy to help where I can. And thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe, stay witchy. Bye.